Well, I guess it's time for our book club. Ryan, take us away.
Hey guys, so I picked My Little Pony issues 6 through 10. Did you guys read it?
Yes. What I loved a lot was Rainbow Dash. I thought her
arc was real something, right?
it was
the way
so
she
good.
just murdered all those other ponies.
She really changed the future of Equestria.
I think so. I think
That was
so.
called?
No.
Yes.
You guys know more about My Little Pony than
No,
I do.
shit. No, guys, Twilight Sparkle, when she came out wielding those chainsaws, I mean, holy shit, this just got dark.
Guys, My Little Pony got real.
Well, you know, it's 2018. Anyway,
I'm going to miss Pinkie Pie.
Me too.
you guys are
My
blowing
favorite
my
character.
mind with
My
your actual pony knowledge. I was joking. Okay.
Wait, so question, is Princess Celestia really dead or is she not dead?
I
You'd
don't
have
know
to
who
ask
that is.
Applejack.
Okay.
You guys are killing me. How do you know so much? Okay.
We just know the names, dude.
Okay. So, jokingly, I picked...
I read the My Little Pony comic for years.
Yeah?
No.
That's cool. Hey, man, whatever you want to do. So I picked a couple issues of Swamp Thing, just some key issues that like really define the character for me, and the first 2 issues that Alan Moore did, and then issue 40, which is just kind of like, much like the most recent Moon Knight issues, there's a lot of like self-contained single issues that are just representative of the world. So the thing that I love about Swamp Thing is that it's a dude who thought he was a man, and he's not a man. He's a straight-up plant, and it's devastating.
So for years, Len Wein had wrote him as if Alec Holland had
Yes.
turned into the Swamp Thing.
Which is, a perfectly great adaptation. That's what he is now in the comics. Again, after Brightest Day, Alec Holland was reborn.
Yeah.
I like the really sad Alec Holland stuff where he battles his humanity and he falls in love with a lady, but he's still like fighting himself. So the reason I specifically love this book is because I think it's one of the most well-written books I've ever read. It is poetic. I love it so much. I'm just going to read a little bit because I love it so much. Plump, warm summer rain that covers the sidewalks like leopard spots. It's just little paragraphs like that, just like they speak to me. I love that kind of shit.
the way the people's narration, like the Floronic Man.
He's great. Jason Woodrew's great.
His internal monologue is very poetic as
Yeah.
well. Everyone's it. Everyone's it.
He'll be pounding on the glass right about now, or maybe not now, maybe in a while. Maybe he'll be pounding, and will there be blood? I'd like to imagine so, yes. I'd rather think there will be blood. Lots of it. Blood in extraordinary quantities.
The second I read that, I knew I was in for a ride.
Yeah,
and
dude.
I was so happy about
I think
it.
this is also, especially for the time period, for this came out in '83. This is one of the best drawn books I've ever seen.
It's beautiful.
It is a true collaboration between the artist and the writers. And the writer.
The panel work in
Oh.
this book.
They don't make comics like that in the '80s. Like, this is truly one of a kind. And the first time I read it when I was a teenager, it blew my mind because like no offense to like Superman in the '80s, but like it's good, but it doesn't go extreme like this book does.
No, the way like that page that you just flipped to right now,
Yeah.
it's the Floronic Man in the shower and his skin is melting off and you see his plant under his plant skin. It's so wicked.
So the first 2 issues that you had us read is
The anatomy lesson.
is him discovering, is Alec Holland essentially discovering that he is not Alec Holland.
Yeah, so Len Wein's run ends with Swamp Thing getting shot a bunch and quote unquote dying. But it turns out he can't die because he's not a person.
Yeah.
He's a plant. So Jason Woodrew goes to this the
Oh, wait,
Sunderland
is
Corporation.
this the first issue of Alan Moore's run?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he
Oh.
jumped on 21 and he rewrote the character.
Oh wow.
Interesting,
Yeah.
because Len Wein had a...
He did the original series and then Saga of Swamp Thing ended at 20.
Got it.
Yeah. So the Sunderland Corporation finds Swamp Thing and they take him in and they need a plant expert. So they get Jason Woodrue, who is the Floronic Man, who is a man who has plant properties, but he's obsessed with becoming one with nature like Swamp Thing is. So he's the perfect person to come in. And the Sunderland Corporation doesn't care about any of that shit. It's about experiments and bad stuff. And Jason Woodrue ends up killing the old man who's in charge of this thing because he does whatever it needs to. He does whatever he needs to accomplish to get his goal. And at the end, especially issue 22, it's so beautiful. Where like he's just like standing in the rain. He's like, I'm finally won.
Well, that's his whole thing is in that the Floronic Man, he didn't know if the old man would get killed or not.
Yeah.
He was like, it depends on if he read the notes.
Yes.
If he reads the notes, he'll kill him. If he doesn't read the
Swamp
notes, he
Thing. Yeah.
won't.
So when Swamp Thing
Yeah.
wakes up, and he's like, Swamp Thing probably won't kill this old man unless he's read my notes, where he's find out that his humanity is gone forever. He is just a plant with Alec Holland's consciousness.
It's really great to see him like cut open Alec. Cut open
and his
Swamp
lungs.
Thing.
He has fake lungs and like fake organs because he's trying to. They're trying to recreate what Alec Holland thinks he is, and it's like that's really tragic, dude.
Yeah.
And
No,
like Swamp Thing has like this breakdown, and he kills this dude, and like in the Floronic Man, like he eats part of Swamp Thing, and like it helps him become one with nature. He gets to be part of the green, and like specifically the final, especially this final on issue 22.
The next issue, yeah.
This stuff is like beautiful. Like it begins to rain blossoms. He's the Floronic Man, and all that once is human, he is consumed, engulfed, swamped, which is also the name of the issue.
Because they keep saying swamped as they show
and like
the different situations
In
that
the second
have
issue,
landed people.
Swamp Thing has receded back into the swamp and just is letting the swamp like take him.
yes, and he's battling his own mind.
Yeah.
And you got
like-
Matt and Abby Arcane, or no,
Abigail Arcane and then Matt Cable.
yeah,
Yep.
they show up because they're trying to get Alec. Because they think no, this is still Alec Holland.
Abby is a friend of his who they eventually become lovers.
Yeah, but what
Oh,
I
poor
really,
Matt.
I'm going to tell you what happens to Matt.
no, you don't.
I know. I
Okay.
know. I was
You
just
do?
kidding.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't. That was a shocker this morning.
Yeah.
But what I really loved was how Jason, the Floronic Man, explained to Sutherland how Swamp Thing came to be. Is like, so Alec Holland dies, and these worms, these plant entities, attack his DNA, and then they learn from said DNA.
Yeah.
So then that's how the Swamp Thing was created. I thought that was very, very interesting.
And a mix with the biorestorative formula.
Yeah.
It
like
would
all
only
this stuff.
be many years later when it was established that the green has always had a swamp thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
but-
it shows Alec.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that part right there, I was like, that is actually really cool.
Yeah.
And because even while I was reading the New 52 version of Swamp Thing, the first Swamp Thing book I ever read, I see Alec Holland.
Yeah.
And
that run is great. Like I have no problems with that run.
It is. But now seeing this version, like Alan Moore's version, I'm thinking,
I have one problem with that run.
What?
Too damn short, man.
oh, yeah.
38 issues.
Well, no, I mean Scott Sanders.
Oh, well,
He
yeah.
only did 18.
Yeah, but Charles Soule stuff is really good.
Charles Soule stuff is really good. You had me reading Charles Soule stuff, Brandon.
That's where the middle stuff
Very
comes
good.
in, yeah.
Yeah. But just reading Alan Moore's version of Swamp Thing was like, this is
It's something else.
It really
is
is.
something
I,
else.
I no joke. Like I think like not just these two issues, the entire run. It's some of the best written stuff in comics history.
No, I was enjoying reading this at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's
Yeah.
like, why have I not heard
Like,
about Swamp Thing
there's
more than
there's
this?
nothing that DC is putting out in a sense that even comes close to Sandman and Swamp Thing.
no.
Like those two graphic novels, those two comic book runs, those are
Sandman's so good.
books
Yeah.
that just have pictures in them. Like
Yeah.
they're beautifully
If you guys-
poetic, and
Oh, man.
those are epic storytelling in a way that DC I don't think has done in quite
No.
some time.
That's why I think if you guys reread the Swamp Thing Winter Special, the Tom King one, now that you have the Alan Moore knowledge, he writes them a lot like Alan Moore.
Yeah.
That's why I appreciate that
Don't
book.
make me cry again, dude.
And
yeah.
issue 40, we see Alan Moore's take on his character that he created, Constantine.
Yeah. Yeah. I like issue 40 a lot because it's
Looks
just
real young.
He does.
Yeah, it's just a self-contained story about this the
woman
pain
with
of
her
being
period.
the pain the pain of being a woman, and like her house is on like an ancient burial ground, so like or something like that, so like her pain is manifested into becoming a werewolf, and she can't fight it
Her period is manifested into becoming a werewolf.
Yes.
She can fight it only a little.
only a little.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing
Oh, and it's so tragic.
that's what I like.
All of these were just beautifully tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my favorite line is there like she's like, give me the sweet release of death, and Swamp Thing's like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And like that's just, and she's just like, then
So she throws
she
herself.
kills
on some
herself.
Cutlery.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
kills herself, and I'm like,
On steak because it's so beautiful because the sign says women rejoice, steak knives on sale.
Yeah.
And so she kills
it's a lot
herself
about
on the steak knives.
like Alan Moore, like by no definition is like I would consider like a feminist. Like he still writes women in a certain way, but I think this issue he tries to do his best job of being like women are plighted, and like this is manifested like in a supernatural way.
Yeah.
I really like it.
I love the way that Swamp Thing's like talking about it and saying, I have no right to stay her hand,
Yeah.
but necessity to do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like and like
because
I
he
can just
doesn't
quote
want
all this.
he doesn't want her to kill people.
No.
And he's like, but you're in the right.
Yeah.
by
I don't
doing
have the
this.
right to stop you from what's
Yeah.
going on
Yeah.
with you. Yeah.
I just think I can just quote this entire book. Like I think every word of dialogue is like beautifully written and beautifully drawn, and it's like I said, we don't get comics like
and
this
he,
anymore.
he lies to her about if Roy lived or not.
Oh yeah, she killed her husband, right?
Yeah.
yeah, she killed her husband.
Well, also, I mean, her husband was being a dick, but at the
Yes.
same time, it's like she's still in the right. She was being mistreated.
Right.
She was
Yeah.
being I want to say emotionally abused.
Yeah.
like, he's
Definitely.
like,
100%.
like
Yeah.
why? What about my dinner? What about
Yeah.
my dinner? And then she turns into the werewolf, which was kind of creepy because like the
It
snout
comes
comes
out
her
of her mouth.
It's awesome, dude.
Well, I just because I think it's important to do the separation. What I like is that it's not some total, flagrant over the top, like he hits his wife kind of,
Right.
you know,
It's
where's
not.
my dinner kind of
Right.
shouting.
It's not.
It's the subtle undertoned kind of asshole where it's like, I mean, it should be ready. What about my dinner? I understand that you're not hungry. It's the more underplayed
Exactly.
asshole, which is why it's so important because that's far more common.
And,
It is.
and like you said with the like, what about my husband? And Swamp Thing lies like he's fine. Like, because he doesn't want her to die knowing she killed her husband, and like every issue has something that tugs at your heartstrings like that. And I'm just like, man, this entire run, like, I'll definitely do some more issues in the future when that TV show gets more in development. But like, I really don't think there are any. This is one of the. I don't think anything is better written than this.
No,
I can't think of a superhero comic because this takes place in the DC universe. There are issues that you guys will read where he's in Gotham, like hanging out with Batman.
It's back when Vertigo was kind of more into the DC universe. I think by the time that Hellblazer came out, they were kind of like, no, they're separate.
Yeah, and you can thank Swamp Thing for introducing Constantine. And Constantine, like, he's just showing up all the time, like, hey, Alec, maybe you should go to this place. They got some spooky stuff going on.
I'm going back to Louisiana. I'm not going where you send me. All right, man. I mean, that's your choice. You go where you want.
Yeah.
Open the paper, Louisiana.
Damn it.
Issue 22's whole work with Alec, all the metaphors and illusions that he's going through as his humanity. Yeah, his humanity is just
like he's carrying
so
his
good.
skeleton, which is the last remnants of his humanity.
And he leaves Linda behind.
And he leaves his dead wife, who was killed in the same accident that turned
and
into
it's like,
Swamp
you
Thing.
need me. I'm your humanity. And it's like, I don't.
Yeah.
And he just lays there and lets the moss overtake
And it's really
him.
interesting to see from that issue going to issue 40 where he's like, I can just go wherever I want.
Yeah, because he definitely learns to be a better fake plant man.
Elemental.
Elemental, thank you, yeah. He's not considered an elemental yet.
But let's use the colloquialism from
He's an elemental, so like, in issue 40 we jump ahead and he's just like popping up and down like it's nothing.
But yeah, I thought issue 22 was honestly one of my favorite things, just watching all the weird inserts of messed up creatures amongst the normal, and like the worms would show up and like feast and all these kinds of
really
different
interesting stuff.
I like the anatomy lesson more because I just like Jason Woodrow's.
It's beautiful.
I liked his narration. Like at the end of every page, he must be banging on the glass right now.
Oh yeah, dude.
Where's the old man? Must be there right now.
In issue 40, he uses the same narration over and over again. Every couple of
for their anger is like unreleased,
unbridled,
unbridled, and it's constantly repeating because it's what she's hearing throbbing in her brain.
And it's really cool to hear that. I think issue 40 is actually my favorite, not the least of which that it opens with Alec and the girl making out.
These were all
Abby?
strong issues with awesome art, and I really love the way all of it was executed. But there's something that I always love about, and I thought it was done so well both in art and writing, the way that like certain words would insert into his conversations almost like they're supposed to be normal, but it's clearly not normal, of his dreamlike world of him coming to terms with the lost humanity of Alec.
She runs, and the night is too small a thing to contain the fury within her. Just like, it's poetry, dude. It's just so good. Like, it's like, oh, I'm gonna punch you, Superman. Like I love superhero comics, but like this is something special, and that's why I have it tattooed, because like it resonates. Like it's about like humanity, and it's like it's so great.
Well, to be honest, in many ways, it doesn't feel like a superhero comic. It feels like a near like.
It's sophisticated suspense.
It's not as like, you know, gore or based or anything, but it's like Tales from the Crypt comics.
Yeah, this feels like something that like something Image would put out today.
Yeah,
you know, it feels like something that like something like Image would put out today.
I want to see stuff like that. That Alex in
I really hope that we get more Swamp Thing. Or okay,
I said why I'm scared for this TV show, because how could it live up to this?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's based off this. That's why.
I know what I was gonna say. I want Swamp Thing to be more in the spotlight than he is now. I mean, we have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. They're the big ones. But reading books like Swamp Thing, I was like, this is comic books.
And see,
this is where comic books can. I feel like these issues of Swamp Thing, especially issue 21 and 21, 22, even issue 40, they push the line of comic books being art, an actual art form, not something that snobs with their heads up their own ass go, oh, comics,
I'm definitely
whatever.
that though.
Whereas they can talk about social issues in a way that resonates with people of everyone, not just the main demographic, but everyone can relate to this, especially in issue 40. And also just that prime, I want to say, wickedness of the Floronic Man.
Yeah.
Was like that. The second he said, I hope there's lots of it. There probably won't, but I hope there is. It's like, dude, you are menacing and evil, and I love this.
When Old Man Sunderland's dying, he's like, the dying is all that matters to me.
Yes.
I'm like, Jesus, dude.
Yes.
So like,
Yeah, really solid stuff, man.
yeah, dude. I'm glad you guys like it.
Like people
yeah.
read more Swamp Thing. Just read more Swamp Thing.
Like Grant Morrison's written him. Scott Snyder's written him.
Grant Morrison and Mark Millar wrote him together.
Yeah.
I have that's the only volume of Swamp Thing I own.
So like deep comic book fans, like they know Swamp Thing. And like he's definitely a character on the surface like people don't reach towards because he's a plant man. You think, oh, he's just a plant dude, but it's not about a plant thing. It's about humanity and like beauty and love, and it gets so much crazier, guys. Like he has a real relationship with Abby, and it gets weird, and she eats parts of him, and they have a entire issue where they're having like a weird intersexual experience. That's all of the greatest pages ever made. Like I'll show you some.
He also goes to space.
He also goes to space. That's
Swamp Thing X.
He's like a sweet like blue. He's like a sweet blue alien monster. Like it's so great.
What I want to find is the issue where Swamp Thing beats up Batman.
That's the best issue, dude.
When someone comes up to me, when Casey Casual comes up to me and says, "Oh, Batman can't lose to anyone because he's Batman," I will bring out the Swamp Thing issue and say,
they lock up Abby because she banged Swamp Thing in Gotham, and he goes and wrecks Gotham.
No, there's a problem with there's actually a problem with that. Yes, Batman could actually beat Swamp Thing nowadays, because they have there's a mandate that Batman can't lose to another hero that DC has had for quite some time.
Dude, Swamp Thing wrecks Gotham.
That's why that Swamp Thing is so important, is because it's like that was before that happened.
Batman gets his ass kicked.
But of course, not a lot of people know that. So
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for reading, guys.